So, toxic friendships. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Aditi. Today we're going to be talking about toxic friendships. A lot of this is speaking from experience, but I've tried to make it as generalized as possible, so it's not like a story time or anything. But yeah, let's get started. So what actually is a toxic friendship? A toxic friendship is basically any friendship that has a negative impact on your life. I think that people can have toxic traits. They aren't inherently toxic. Like, no one is born toxic. Also, toxic is a really strong word. I know that like we have the term toxic friendships, which is why I'm presenting this video in that way, but perhaps just saying like negative friendships, that would be a bit better. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. Let's get into the actual signs of recognizing a toxic friendship. So you can basically call these like red flags. So the first one is putting you down. Anyone that puts you down in any sort of way is not really worth having in your life. It doesn't have to happen in like a downright way. It doesn't have to be in a serious insult kind of way. It can just be sarcasm. When it's repeatedly done, it kind of gets to a point where you think that they can't compliment you and it doesn't feel like a joke anymore. Dealing with people like that who are constantly sarcastic can get a bit draining. The second one is trying to change you. If someone is trying to change you, they don't respect your opinions, they don't respect what you're trying to say, they don't respect your boundaries either. That is an issue, because a friend will respect you for who you are. They will respect the differences between you. If you're trying to make the other person more like you, first of all, they're gonna start to like back off. They're gonna be like, oh, I don't really like the fact that this person is doing that to me. But secondly, it becomes forced because you're trying to make the other person like things that you like, but they don't. And the friendship doesn't feel natural at that point. I'm not gonna lie to you, this one I did feel like I had done, but not even like knowing it. I was doing it without knowing it, and then when I realized, I felt really bad. That's another thing with toxic friendships, right? It's very easy to get into the trap of saying, oh, it's her fault, it's their fault, it's his fault, that sort of thing. But actually look back at the friendship and see if you have demonstrated any like toxic traits or like toxic behavior in general, because doing that is going to force yourself to own up to your mistakes, and that means that you're actually going to take your growth level from here to here. So just be mindful of how you're acting in your friendships, and don't be so quick to label a friendship as toxic because of the other person's behavior. Just bear in mind that it may also be you too. Yeah, that was just a side note, but going back to the whole a friend trying to change you thing. A good friend is going to encourage you to be your most authentic self. So if you feel like after listening to this that that's something you subconsciously do without even knowing it, try to stop that, because that's really not a good thing to do to other people. You're not respecting their boundaries. If you then feel like you're not connecting with the person anymore, perhaps it's time to like not pursue that friendship anymore, because you don't have any common ground, and there's no point of forcing that common ground. That's only going to cause you stress and the other person stress. So just keep those things in mind. The next red flag is the fact that you are the one to start conversations and make plans and do all of that thing. You're the one carrying the weight of the friendship, basically. This is such a major sign of a toxic friendship, because a friendship should always be two-sided. They put in effort, you put in effort, and it should be kind of 50-50, because in the end you don't want to be wasting your energy on people that don't care about you in the same way that you're caring about them. You need to have that energy reciprocated. So I think that's the main thing with toxic friendships. If the energy is not reciprocated, there is a high chance that it could be a toxic friendship. The next thing is getting jealous about their other friends. You kind of feel like a bit of insecurity in the friendship, and that's something I've experienced. I started to compare myself to the other person's friends, and it kind of became like a competition. I didn't know them in real life, or I just didn't know them anyway, but I could feel that sort of competition, and I think that starts to happen when you start to realize that this friendship probably isn't the best. Another sign of a toxic friendship is when, if you have an argument, you always feel like you should take the blame. If you're having lots of arguments, that isn't a good sign anyway. A few more, if they're cancelling on you at the last minute, if they are, you know, just not turning up to plans that they said they would, if they're like, oh, I don't feel like it, multiple times, then that is a cause for concern. But another main factor that the friendship isn't right is the fact that it doesn't feel easy. A friendship should be easy. Like, one of the benefits of a friendship is to reduce your stress. If it's giving you stress, then it's literally going against what a friendship is supposed to be. So, you know, like, think about that as well. If it is taking up too much of your energy and you're having to think about it all the time, things like that, that isn't a good sign either. And finally, if you're even watching this video asking yourself, oh, is this friendship of mine toxic? Or you're looking online to see the signs of a toxic friendship, there is a high chance that it is a toxic friendship. Because, like, I can guarantee that people do not do that with like their normal friends, with friends that they actually get on with friends that reciprocate. That's not something that happens. So also take that into mind as well. Okay, so those were the signs, a pretty long list. There's actually so many more, but I think those were the ones that resonated with me personally, those ones I've definitely experienced. But how does a toxic friendship actually affect you? Like, what does it do to you mentally? So first of all, you feel stressed. Secondly, you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You don't know always how to behave around the other person, so instead of making them angry, you just tread lightly, and you're not your full self. That's probably another one. You're not your full self. You're not your most authentic self. You start making excuses for their behavior, their unexcusable behavior. You try to make excuses for. Like, yes, we have the benefit of the doubt, but let it stay as the benefit of the doubt. Another massive one of how like such friendships affect you is that you start questioning your own self-worth. Your self-confidence starts to go down with your self-esteem as well. So this whole thing can be really detrimental to your mental health. So, you know, it's best to pick up the signs as early as possible. So if you know there's something up, don't try and drag it out further, because it's only going to do you more harm. But also, just because one person can't see your worth doesn't mean it's not there. I feel like relationships, people say, don't date someone's potential, date who they are now. I think the same thing applies to friendship. Don't be friends with someone's potential and like the fun times you can see with them. Be friends with who they are now. And if they become better than who they are now, then that's great. That's, I guess, a bonus, but you have to have that standard. And in such friendships, you end up losing that standard. Say now you've identified that your friendship is toxic and that it's not worth having in your life. You have two choices from here. So the first one is trying to talk to them about it. Now this one can be tricky depending on the person. I guess that's one for you to figure out, but I would still recommend doing it and trying to talk to them before you like cut them off or anything, because, you know, there may be some sort of misunderstanding that you haven't picked up. Maybe they're going through something that you haven't picked up and they're not behaving as their usual self, you know, that sort of thing. Maybe you caught them at a wrong time. This is where the benefit of the doubt comes in. Remember, no excusing unexcusable behavior, but benefit of the doubt is still important. So talk to them, but when you do talk to them, use I statements. Lead the conversation from your feelings. By doing that, you're not like attacking their ego, and there's less likely to be an argument there. If you have talked to them multiple times, and if there has been arguments on most of those occasions, here's choice number 2. So this is where you consider ending it. You consider ending the friendship. First of all, what you can do before you do any of that is just take a break from this person. Live life without this person just for a little bit and really notice how you feel. Do you feel better? However, it can be, I don't know what the word is, illusionary, I want to say. Because if you feel like you miss them, that may be just because you miss like that feeling of toxicity in your life. I know it sounds really, really strange, but we crave like that sort of drama. We crave negative emotions. That's why negative emotions are so much easier to manifest than positive things and emotions. So be careful with that. Try and sit with yourself and really notice how you feel. Journal it perhaps, but take that break. And then afterwards, depending on how you feel, if you felt like life was so much better without them, you don't feel stressed, you feel like a weight has been lifted off your chest, it's time to end it, to be honest. What you want to do with this is not do it over text. However, if the other person is already sensing that, you know, you're kind of withdrawn from the friendship, it's different than how it was, and they may be feeling the same way, they may not want to pick up your calls, they may not want to schedule a time to call with you, they may not want to meet up, they want to just do it all over text. In that case, I guess that's your last resort, so it's okay, so don't worry too much about that. But be very clear and very direct in what you have to say. Don't be rude, be polite but assertive. That's what you want to do. You don't want to let them tread on you anymore. You're setting your boundaries now, and this is where you move on. Find people that treat you a lot better than this person did. Okay, so that's it. You've ended your friendship, your toxic friendship. Now, understand that it's gonna hurt, most likely. If this person meant anything to you, you're probably going to feel that loss. And it's okay to be like sad or feel, you know, kind of hurt about that loss. Let yourself sit with those emotions and let yourself feel those emotions, because the more you try to push them away, the more they're gonna come back. And even if they don't come back now, they're gonna come back in the future when, you know, you feel like you're over it, but you're not. But please do not try to contact them in that space again. You'll definitely want to, but don't do it, and don't do it for a long time, I would say. You may feel as if they have changed, you know, you can rekindle that friendship, but unless you know for sure, don't. I don't think it's worth the risk. There are definitely so many people out there willing to give you a good friendship. Okay, so that's it for today's video. If you feel this has helped you in any way, please, please, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this, and comment down below that it helped you. It would be really nice to know. And also comment down below any requests that you have for future videos. But that's it from, that's it from me for this video. I will see you in another video. Bye!